and welcome back to Mika Reaction Reviews, where we react to things on the internet. And today we are finally returning to Bill Maher. He is back from his long ass hiatus, and he is already upsetting the mainstream medias. And so today we're gonna be reacting to a couple of his clips. But the one we're reacting to now is called Living with COVID, Real Time with Bill Maher, HBO. This was uploaded 4 days ago, so I'm just a tiny bit late on this one. But anyway, it has 607,000 views and 10,000 likes. And before we get started, I just want to tell the YouTube's algorithms that this is not necessarily any of my opinions. I am just reacting to the channel and his guests talking on a mainstream TV show. So there you go. Don't be trying to take down my channel and shit like that, giving me strikes. Anyway, I am simply reacting. I am not a scientist. I am not a doctor. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm just a YouTuber. Don't listen to me. This is just my opinions on their opinions. Alright. Anyway, before we get into it, if you like this type of videos, please like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell to get your notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. If you'd like to support the channel even further, you can donate. My PayPal main link is in the description box below and also in the comment section. Of course, it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, subscribe. And another great way to support this channel is you can either join my brand new membership program or my Patreon. Different levels, different tiers, different perks. The first tier gets you exclusive only members and only Patreon videos I'm uploading already, so click on the link below. Or you can visit my brand new merch shop. Other than that, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Alright, here you go.
Let's talk about the bit of a reset, I think, going on in the world with COVID. I've been asking for it for a long time. I see in Europe, a lot of the leaders are now saying, we have to live with it. Boris Johnson said it. We have to live with it. It's not going away. Treat it like the flu. Some of the things they're doing in the UK, now that they're not doing anymore, they're ending mandated face masks, masks in school, that's gone. Work from home advisories, nope. Mandatory passports to get into nightclubs and large events. Legal requirement to self-isolate, no. They're getting back to normal. We should follow this, I think. What do you think?
Should I leave it to the congressman, please?
I think we've been gradually transitioning to normal. I mean, the public health response has become less draconian and more measured over time as the pandemic has become more manageable, and that's because of the success of the vaccination campaign. The Biden administration has presided over the vaccination of more than 200 million Americans, which has been effective.
But now that, yeah, okay.
I'm done.
If you call threatening people, scaring people, telling people that they should be outcast of society, canceling people, just pumping the most fear and anxiety, creating division in society. If you call that a successful campaign, then I guess, yeah, it was a successful campaign. I mean, if you call ignoring other people's fears, denying people to answer questions so they can't make an actual educated, informed decision, if you deny people's cultural, ethnic, and religious reasons why they would be hesitant, if you would deny the history, the background, the medical history of experiments on minority communities, if you ignore all that and just say fucking get it, or be an outcast of society, fucking get it, or be canceled, fucking get it, or be slandered, then yeah, I call it a successful campaign. It wasn't a successful campaign. Sorry. And yes, I've heard the news that Boris Johnson completely said they're lifting most of the restrictions, most of the mandates, still suggesting people take safety measures when it comes to trying to prevent the spread of the virus. But I do believe that this is the way that a lot of the countries are going right now. It's not just Boris Johnson, it's Spain. I think Israel has also said that we're gonna just live with it. Singapore, Sweden, Brazil, others, I believe Brazil, other South American countries have just said we're gonna just start to live with it. Taiwan did amazing during this whole situation. And just like people was saying in the beginning of this whole thing, that this was just gonna become an endemic where it's just gonna stick around. This is something we need to learn how to live with. A lot of people are upset about the mandates and restrictions are dropping because either they have been so stoked with fear that they don't feel like this is the right measure to take. Other people, I feel like, is gonna be upset that they can't have this little thing to hold over people anymore. People who feel like they can just grab onto power, so they have now their the right to yell at people and be assholes and dicks to people for not complying to what they want to comply with. I think people are now upset that they're losing that special privilege. I'm privileged because I have my card and I can do this now. Now they're losing it. I think people are upset about that. But I think the majority of people are like, thank God. And this is definitely where the U.S. should be heading to. I know that the business mandates have been dropped. The federal business mandates dates have been dropped, but like still statewide and private business can do it. But this is definitely the direction we need to be going to. When you say like we're steadily getting back to normal, this congressman, like it's been 2 years. That is not a steady pace. That is slow as fuck. But anyway, let's continue.
With this question?
No, I'm done with COVID.
Oh,
I'm done. It's like I went so hard on COVID. I
remember.
Sprayed the Pringles cans that I bought at the grocery store, stripped my clothes off because I thought COVID would be on my clothes. Like, I did it all. I watched Tiger King. I got to the end of Spotify. Like, we all did it, right? And
No, we didn't all do it.
Well, here's the thing. A lot
of
us did do it. And then we were told, you get the vaccine. You get the vaccine and you get back to normal. And we haven't gotten back to normal. And it's ridiculous at this point. I know that so many of my liberal and progressive friends are with me on this, and they do not want to say it out loud because they are scared to be called anti-vax or to be called science denial or to be, smeared as a Trumper. I'm sorry, if you believe the science, you will look at the data that we did not have 2 years ago, and you will find out that cloth masks do not do anything. You will realize that you can show your vaccine passport at a restaurant and still be asymptomatic and carrying Omicron. And you will realize, most importantly, that this is going to be remembered by the younger generation as a catastrophic moral crime. The city of Flint, Michigan, which is 80%, I think, minority students, has just announced indefinite virtual schooling. In the past 2 years, we've seen among young girls a 51% increase in self-harm. People are killing themselves. They are anxious. They are depressed. They are lonely. That is why we need to end it, more than any inconvenience that it's been to the rest of us. I think.
Exactly. I'm glad that she said what she said. Going back to the beginning when she said most people feel this way, but they're scared they're going to get smeared and labeled and outcast. That is not what you call a successful campaign. When you literally have to almost threaten people's livelihood to be able to get a poke or something like that. That is not called a successful campaign. That is called dictatorship. That is called authoritarian. I'm sorry, that is not a successful campaign. And the fact that she said smeared as a Trumper is another evidence that how divisive the politics have gotten in America, where being called a Trump supporter is now a smear instead of someone's private decision to vote for whoever they wanted to vote for because of their own personal reasons. That is sad. The fact that I'm glad she brought up the depression. I'm glad she brought up the spike in mental health, self-harm, suicide, overdoses, domestic violence. Like, she didn't mention those two, but like those have been on the rise since this whole global thing has happened. And I'm so sick of people ignoring that. People like Whoopi Goldberg, who went on a fucking tyrant. How dare you? Like, she's up here and you're down here. She still gets to go to work. She still gets to get her paycheck. She still gets to be around all those women, still catching the virus, by the way, after being poked and double poked and triple poked. But she gets to yell at you and talk down to you, peasant. How dare you want to get back to normal? But the only thing they ever point out is, yes, people have lost their lives, and that is a sad thing. But if you really cared about people's health, if you really was like, I care about people's health, I want people to be healthy, I want people to thrive, then why don't you talk about all the underlying health conditions that actually upticks and increases people's chances of getting severely sick or ending up in death with this virus? Whoopi Goldberg, who is obese and overweight herself. Why don't she ever talk about that? Whoopi Goldberg, black woman, that obesity and diabetes is pretty much an epidemic in the black community. Why don't you talk about those things since you care so much about people's health, right? These people keep claiming, oh my God, people are losing their lives. We care, but you don't actually care to talk about the things that people can do on their own to increase their chances of survival or not getting severely ill of this virus. And all these things has been stated by the World Health Organization, has been stated by the CDC, has been stated by CNN. So these things are mainstream knowledge. This is not something I'm saying out of conspiracy theory. YouTube executives and algorithms and stuff like that. The stuff is stated, you can Google it. So I'm just sick of people ignoring the long-term effects that it's gonna have on people who have, their lives has been devastated and turned upside down because of this. And not everyone who's lost their lives is not directly just because of the virus. It's been because of how this whole global thing has been handled by the authorities, by people who are up controlling everything, and people like Whoopi Goldberg, people like Jimmy Kimmel, people like Howard Stern, who can sit up on their gilded cages and yell at you and tell you to get the fuck over it. Anyway, let's continue.
It's a pandemic. It's like, at this point, it's a pandemic of bureaucracy. It's a pandemic of bureaucracy. It's not. It's not real anymore.
Let's not forget that the pandemic has left a death count of more than 850,000 Americans.
Well, that's a
yes, but it was
that's a squishy.
Yes, but Richie, it was a blunt instrument. Okay, if you look at who was affected by this, 803 children have died in the past 2 years, in the entire country from and with COVID.
I guess I offer a perspective. I was a New Yorker who lived through the early weeks and early months of the pandemic, and it was just a catastrophe for New York City, the likes of which we've never seen. We saw overflowing emergency rooms. New York lost more than 60,000 people. The Bronx alone lost more than 7,000 people, which is larger than the combined death toll of Pearl Harbor and 9/11. I saw mass graves in Hart Island in the Bronx. I mean, most New Yorkers saw a level of death and suffering we've never seen in our lives, and that's the source of the concern about COVID. I mean, I reject the notion that the response to COVID has been worse than the disease itself.
Why does New York have a bigger death rate than all the other states in America, most of the other states in America, where they took the most extreme measures, but still have the biggest death rate? And he's saying that it wasn't the policy, it wasn't how it was handled? Bruh, really? We have bad leadership, Cuomo, I think it's Cuomo, who put the elderly patients back in the elderly home, killing other elderly people. Didn't seem that upset about that part. Okay, let's continue.
COVID has been worse than the disease itself.
Well, I would argue with that. I mean, I asked for the COVID deaths by state. This is per 100,000 people. The worst is Mississippi. My home state of New Jersey, 4. Fourth worst. New York, 6th worst. West Virginia and Massachusetts are 10 and 11, right together. Could there be 2 states who are more unalike than West Virginia and Massachusetts? And the poster boy for keeping shit open was Florida. They're down at 17. So New York and New Jersey did worse than Florida. What I'm saying is...
Well, we did worse because we're a densely populated hub of international travel.
Well, so Florida should have done more. Florida is home to all the old people in America.
Yep. A lot of elderly people go to Florida to retire. Florida has also had densely populated areas. I'm very happy that Bill Maher pointed that out. A lot of states, not even the bigger states, some of the smaller Midwestern towns who barely went into lockdown at all, didn't really have any restrictions, fared fairly well. But even like he's pointed out, because it's densely populated, he didn't say that in the beginning. He didn't say, well, New York did really poor because it's very densely populated, people are on top of each other. He made it seem like it's simply the virus, that's the only thing to take into account, you know, here when it comes to death tolls or the death rate. He didn't say that in the beginning because it's all about fear. Let's just stick to the virus. Let's not talk about any policies. Let's not talk about the steps that has been taken. Let's not talk about the failure that has been done, the failure of the policies, the failure of the politics, the failure of the government. Let's not talk about that. Let's only stick to this one thing because we need to keep stoking fear. Let's not fix what's broken. Let's just keep it broken and only focus on the virus. Stupid. Let's continue.
Well, maybe they should have done.
But the data is crystal clear, and this is beyond dispute, that the deaths and hospitalizations have been overwhelmingly concentrated among the unvaccinated. If you are fully vaccinated, you have a far lower risk of infection and hospitalization and death.
But that's not even the issue we're talking about now. We will get to that. What this is saying is Florida, stayed open. I mean, I was just in Florida. I've been there a few times since this started.
Half of New York has moved there.
The atmosphere is just different. I'm not moving to Florida. I'm not promoting Florida. I'm just saying AOC just went to Florida and had a good time without a mask, hugging
like
people.
she was having a
okay?
blast.
Okay. I'm just saying, I've been to Florida. The atmosphere was just night and day from California, which was gloomy, and everything was, the Andromeda strain was out there, and you went to Florida, and I'm just saying, yes, there are different factors in different states, but basically, it's like they stayed open and went on with life, and they didn't do a hell of a lot worse, and maybe did better.
I'd like to know where Tennessee and Texas stands on that list. I don't know if that's necessarily true when it comes to the unpoked and appoked, what he said that is more concentrated, more whatever. I would have to see the data on that. I don't know if that's per state or whatever, but if you are poked, double poked, triple poked, you can still be infected with the virus. So it doesn't stop you from getting it. Maybe it stopped you from getting severely ill. I believe that. However, most people who got it anyway, if you wasn't in the if you weren't in a risk category of being elderly or having underlying factors, health factors, you are going to probably most likely survive it anyway. And that is not conspiracy. That is on the CDC, World Health Organization, on CNN. You can go look it up yourself. That is a fact. That has already been stated. That is like mainstream narrative that majority of people survive it. So was the mandates really ethical or moral whatsoever if most people were going to be okay and you have the risk factors and all this stuff? I'm not gonna get into it because I don't want to get a strike on this channel, but that's it. Talk to your doctor, do your own research. I'm just a stupid YouTuber. Don't listen to me. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think. Comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell to get your notification when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. If you'd like to support the channel even further, you can donate. My PayPal link is in the description box below and also in the comment section. Of course, it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, subscribe. And another great way to support the channel is you can either join my brand new membership program or my Patreon. Different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop. And I also have a second travel vlog channel. I travel as a lifestyle, or I live abroad. If you'd like to know where I am in the world, you can go to the description box below and also in the comment section. Hit the link. Go subscribe to our travel vlog channel and or follow me on travel Instagram. My stories is usually what's most up to date. And you guys have an amazing day. Bye.